So still a noteworthy UFC prospect, Bo Nickal has a fight. Um, Bo Nickal, he's been a pretty fairly hyped fighter in the past. Wrestled for Penn State. Really, 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 really great wrestler. Amazing wrestler. Made the move to UFC. A lot of people had big hopes, especially with really great wrestlers making the move like Daniel Cormier. People had big hopes for him. They still do. I'm not saying that he's like a nobody now, but he did have an interesting fight in his last fight against Paul Craig. Um, you know, I argue that if he had like at least a pretty decent camp with a focus on the feet, striking on the feet, he'd be able to knock out Paul Craig because Paul Craig is not a great striker by any means. But to my surprise, Paul Craig damn near outstruck Bo Nickal. And Bo Nickal really didn't grapple Paul Craig at all. Probably for fear out of Paul Craig's jiu-jitsu, you know, which everybody was in Bo Nickal's ear about all fight camp, all build up to this fight. Everybody was talking about how, the exchanges on the ground between Bo Nickal and Paul Craig are going to be really interesting. And people who lose to Paul Craig usually go on to do great things in the UFC because that's actually also a trend. You know, um, just look at Ankalaev. Look at Ankalaev. You know, um, and Jamal Hill. You know, not Jamal Hill now, but Jamal Hill a couple months ago. Jamal Hill. But still, people were really interested in how a fight between Bo Nickal and Paul Craig would go because they believed that that fight would undoubtedly go to the ground. And to our to all of our surprise, that fight between Bo Nickal and Paul Craig didn't really even touch the ground once. It was a fight on the feet to which Paul Craig was arguably winning. Bo Nickal was looking for a wide overhand a lot of the time. Kind of really looked like Gaethje at certain points in that fight, but not a prime Gaethje, like maybe a just starting out Gaethje that's always trying to brawl and throw, but not really throw in a smart way. Bo looked weird in there, but again, that it isn't over for Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal won the fight, A, and B. Again, the fight didn't really go to the ground, but so Bo Nickal wasn't really going to his area of expertise, which is what would be the best thing to do in an MMA fight. Use what you're good at, you know. But Bo Nickal really didn't do that, and it kind of shows the mental state that Bo Nickal has, in terms of how he acts when everybody's in his ear about a certain thing. You know, it kind of shows that Bo Nickal is a little bit vulnerable mentally, and you could get in his headspace a little bit, if you keep chatting at him. With that being said, um, Bo Nickal's got to fight against Reinier de Ritter, and Reinier de Ritter is coming off of a win against Kevin Holland. Reinier and Kevin fought. Kevin Holland. What can I say about Kevin that I haven't already said about Kevin Holland? Kevin Holland is a lazy, unambitious, greedy, um, lazy fighter. You know, and the whole of the UFC and the whole of the MMA world they're finally coming to see that. But I've seen that for quite a while now. That he's unambitious, he's unmotivated, he's uninterested, and I think all of those things should guarantee him a one-way ticket out of the fucking UFC and to street beefs or karate combat or even slap fight. You know, somewhere other than the UFC, because the UFC is for people that want to succeed and have an eye on a title. You know, that's what makes the UFC so great. That's what keeps the UFC buzzing. That's what keeps the interesting fights coming. You know, and Kevin Holland's fucking that shit up, and he showed that against Reinier de Ritter. He had the fight against Reinier, and even in the build-up against Reinier, came to social media and talked about the fact that he may not even listen to his coach for that fight. He's going to consider listening to his coach. You know, he's gonna hope he's in a good mood, a good enough mood to listen to his coach. You know, stupid, stupid, dumb, stupid. You don't do that. You know. So he went in there and he stunk. He stunk, and Reinier was able to submit him, and it was over, quick. You know. So will that same thing happen against Bo Nickal? I don't know. You know, this is kind of Bo Nickal's redemption. If you could look at it from here, look at it from this way. This is kind of Bo Nickal's redemption from the Paul Craig fight, because Bo Nickal is going into this fight against another strong grappler. Reinier de Ridder is a very strong grappler. So now Bo Nickal has another choice. Is he going to go away from what he's good at and try to strike with Reinier? Or is he going to come into this fight and use what he's good at this time and prove to us that he is the greatest grappler ever? You know, the greatest wrestler, the greatest all-around ground game guy ever. Is he going to prove that to us? Or is he going to, you know, bitch away from that, adopt striking again, and try to go in there this time with a Muay Thai style or some shit like that, you know? I don't know. Time will tell. But this is a chance for Bo Nickal to redeem himself against a strong grappler. This is a chance for Bo Nickal to show that he's not scared, you know, and that he'll grapple with anybody. Because, again, Reinier de Ridder is a strong grappler. He's proved that, you know. This is also a big fight for Reinier, because this is a fight that can propel Reinier to the upper echelon of his division, you know. And beating Bo Nickal, while Bo Nickal isn't like a UFC veteran, you know, or a UFC legend, he's a rising star, a UFC prospect, a rising star. You know, he's still got hype. He's still an excellent wrestler. He's still got a lot of eyes on him. And if Reinier can beat him, that does wonders for Reinier. Just look at MVP. Look at Michael Venom Page and what he was able to do. Michael Venom Page not too long ago beat Sharapute Magomedov. Sharapute Magomedov wasn't a UFC legend by any means, but he was a rising star, a prospect, had a lot of hype, especially coming off of his double spinning back fist knockout against Armen Petrosyan. He was doing big things, and then MVP stopped him, and now MVP has a lot more hype, you know? Same thing could happen for Reinier de Ridder, you know? And it's up to Bo Nickal to make that not happen, and for him to keep going up the rankings, you know? But yeah, this is a great fight to make when you look at it from a lore perspective, if you will. It's a great fight to make because it's going to build character for both of these guys, both of these young, strong grapplers. So, if you were to ask me what I think would happen, who I think is going to win, give me Bo Nickal. Give me Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal is still an excellent grappler. Hasn't shown any weakness there yet. And I will put money on the fact that he's going to be able to get his mental state right this time. Go at Reinier with the grappling, out-grapple Reinier, out-wrestle Reinier, probably even submit Reinier, you know, or at least win via decision by, you know, sheer amount of ground control time. But I have Bo Nickal beating Reinier. And again, if I had to be really, really specific about it, I don't think I want to risk it. I think I will go Bo Nickal by decision because maybe Reinier has some really great defensive grappling and he'll be able to reverse some positions. So I'll go Bo Nickal via decision based off of ground control time, you know, and holding better positions and takedowns and shit like that. Bo Nickal via grappling, unanimous decision. I like Reinier. I think Reinier will recover from this, obviously. He's a great grappler. And I think I see a good future in him as well. But yeah. Give me Bo. Unanimous decision. He's going to win the fans back by going to his roots and sticking there. Overall, I love you guys. Let me know what you think about this. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn the notifications on because YouTube is fucking with my viewership. So yes, most importantly, turn the notifications on so you know when my next video is out so you can watch it immediately and stay in the loop. I love you guys. I'll see y'all in the next.